Welcome back to our daily show. And it was rightfully pointed out I haven't had an energy drink yet, but that's okay. Emily and Leslie with SSP join us now. And this fraud prevention panel is really cool because there's so many times that my grandma has gotten called and said, hey, it's your grandson that's in jail. And I mean, it's a real scam that's going on, which is believable for me, but at least not very true. And now AARP sponsors this panel, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct, yes. We work with them to do about 3 or 4 presentations a year. And fraud prevention is a really hot topic. Lots of people are really asking questions about that. And it's something that, with our serving mostly older adults, it's really something we need to continue to bring to the forefront.
Well, I'm sure that with all the advancements in technology and AI and everything else, that all of these scams are probably getting a little bit more sophisticated or just changed enough to where they're coming off as new scams or something that we might fall for.
Absolutely. And that's something they're going to talk about, too, is the current scams. What are some common scenarios that we should be looking out for? And, even if you've fallen victim to a scam, what should you do next? Because a lot of people are actually embarrassed to admit that they have.
Right.
When really the best thing you can do is just start to take action from there. Report it. Deputy Alfaro from the Madison County Sheriff's Department will be there and sharing information about what are the next steps. If you think something has happened and you've been taken advantage of, what are those next steps that you need to start working on?
Well, I could only imagine, you're right, the embarrassment with that and maybe just some of those other feelings. But if that does happen, you could help somebody else not go down that very same path. And I didn't know, did you bring any statistics around here for any type of fraud? Because it's hard to quantify.
There's so many different types.
Yeah. Well, my mom was an occupational therapist, and, she's told me horror stories of, when someone's very sick or maybe in that rehabilitation stage but going to go move to nursing home soon or maybe even finish out hospice when they get back or recover from a broken hip, that these folks just come out of the woodwork sometimes that are even family members and long lost best friends, and they just come in. But that's a whole nother type of fraud that
taking
abuse.
Advantage of people when they're vulnerable, and you just don't know what's going to come at you, which is unfortunate. But I mean, they're out there.
Well, how important is it for SSP to do these types of panels and events? Because it's one thing to have just a presentation and a PowerPoint that says, here you go, here you go, here you go. But this is more of an interactive, kind of in-depth conversation that could be had, and you could ask your own questions, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we've kind of evolved. So last year we were doing a lot of presentations, one speaker. This year we've done two panels so far. And we've kind of continued to evolve them that way because we want to, introduce our public to the people that they should talk to about these things, right? So your local police department, your sheriff's department, those are the people you're going to be reporting to first. And so we want to bring them into our space and introduce the public to them to make that a more comfortable interaction. But then also the next step from that is the assistant state's attorney or Scott Versman, who is the fraud and corruption section chief for the U.S. Attorney's Office. Depending on the type of scam and the fraud that's committed, these are the other people that are potentially going to be involved. And we want to make this a comfortable interaction because it is so uncomfortable to report something like this.
Well, and I don't know if this kind of goes in too much in the weeds, but if, we have a relative that's, doesn't have, any type of complete debilitating factors or living on their own, but maybe there's already kind of that start of confusion, or maybe we're starting to suspect that dementia's coming into play and they're getting emails or texts from people and they're clicking on things. Can the loved ones or the caregiver of an individual stop by and be a part of the panel too?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, they can come in, they can sign up through AARP. I mean, it's open to the public. But yes, anywhere from older adults to, their family members, anybody who's interested in learning more on this topic are welcome.
I was going to say also anybody, who maybe even works at a bank or somewhere else that might be another step in helping catch fraud potentially. These are people that like the sheriff's department or your local police department will work with to identify what's going on. So anybody from the public is welcome to attend to this.
Well, and too, I just think of like even cashiers at Target and all of that with all the gift card scams where, you're going in and getting 400, gift cards that are $5 a piece or whatever that is now. That's always something good too. And now throughout the year, are you guys going to have more fraud prevention panels, or is this going to be our only opportunity, you think, this calendar year to stop by and learn.
Yeah, right now we don't have any more planned, but we've got some other contacts that we could always bring in and expand the panel itself.
Now, you got to have a reason to go to the panel, too, besides, helping you help yourselves and your loved ones, including a good meal. What's going to be served there, Leslie?
Oh, on this day, June 21st, we have chicken with gravy, glazed baby carrots and mashed potatoes, roll, drinks, of course, and dessert.
So you get a great meal while you're learning, too. I can read upside down. See, that's part of the...
You were looking over here, you knew.
Part of the talent, But I think it's great that you make it an actual event. It's not just, hey, here's something going on, you've evolved them, and it's really become a really cool opportunity for folks to absolutely learn, and not just learn the topic, but the people, Emily. That's absolutely a great point. And now, throughout it, how long is this going to run?
Yeah, so doors will open at 11 a.m. We'll start serving lunch at about 11:45, and then the presentation will start right at 12 and go till about 1 p.m.
Oh, that's nice. And now, is there going to be open discussion throughout the whole hour, or is it going to be set aside like Q&A for 15 minutes at the end?
Yeah, so the structure will be, we've got some questions for each panelist. We'll go through those, and then we'll do some Q&A, probably about 10-15 minutes at the end.
Really cool. And now, do you have any of the kind of the top discussed, fraud or any of those type FAQs or topics that you brought with you today?
Yeah, so I do kind of have the rundown of what we're going to have everybody discuss on the panel, and those are going to be, like I mentioned, the current scams, maybe some common scenarios to watch out for, what to do if you've fallen victim to a scam, who to report that to, what that looks like when you're reporting, where it goes from there, what information they might need. What are some protections and safeguards that you can put in place or that are currently in place that we might just not know about?
Right.
We've asked each of them to share an example of a past case that they have maybe worked through with someone, and then tips for protecting yourself against fraud, how to stay informed, and then any other educational resources that they might have.
Well, and now, is there a difference, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit on that, I'm sure, but whenever it's mixed in the family with fraud, like let's say, you got the aunt or uncle that's kind of defrauding grandma, is that in the same realm of, maybe a guy that's maybe doing some cyber fraud in terms of, credit card scams or any type of, hey, here's a virus on your computer? So
something that would be interesting, and we were here last month talking about the elder abuse. Yeah. So there's also that factor that we have to put into this fraud. And I know that I think the Assistant State's Attorney Courtney Lindbeck and probably Scott Bursman will both speak to this, but when the victim is a certain age, the penalties change.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think there's also a special piece in there about it being potential elder abuse, and then how they can prosecute or charge someone based on that information.
That's fascinating, because I always wondered when's the line kind of crossover. And now, fraud doesn't really affect just older people, and that's something too. I mean, I know individuals that are 40 years old that have gotten scammed and defrauded. And now, is it in terms of maybe someone? I'm trying to find a way to phrase this. The door knockers from heavy storm periods and things where they knock on your door. Here's, $2,500, you get a new roof, you give them the $2,500, never see them again. Right. Are some of those going to be discussed too? Because that's fraud, I believe.
Yeah, and actually, so that will be discussed. Something else too we're going to do, I think it's in a month or two, is a public safety panel.
That'll be cool.
So we'll be working with local authorities like the water department, hopefully Ameren, the police department, getting everybody in to talk about when these people come to your door, what should they have? How should they prove to you that they are truly legitimate and what they are there for is a legitimate thing and not a potential fraud or scam scenario.
It's an amazing talent they have, though. They don't stop talking once they knock on your door. It's like the most amazing thing until they met me, and then it's kind of like just a smile and a keep on walking, pal, It's kind of funny. Anyway, getting back to this, how many people can you hold in SSP? Do you guys have enough room for an extended crowd?
So we have a cap at 130 for this event.
Okay.
And we do still have seats available, so we'll probably end up taking reservations up until that day of the event.
And then just call SSP for those reservations. Oh.
That'd be me.
What's the number?
So they can give me a call. Normally, I know a lot of people are probably used to being able to register through AARP or their website, but we've just made it easier this time to go ahead and give me a call. I'm on the flyer if you guys see this around. But you can give me a call at 618-465-3298, extension 123. My name is Leslie, and I can get you signed up for that.
Well, I really like that you aren't directing them to AARP or any of those, like, type in promo code 45 to sign up. Makes it easier. And now, to get the public figures and the elected officials and this individuals involved in this, did it take a lot, or was it one? Because there's not a lot of opportunities for this, Emily, to really have these type of panels about fraud.
It's a collaboration. So we work with Jeff Scott at AARP Illinois. He's got connections. We've got connections. So we all kind of work together on who we want on the panel and how can we make those things happen.
That's awesome. And going forward, how many more luncheons are there going to be, or panels discussions going to be throughout the year? Do you try once a month?
We have about one a quarter. So we should have about two more. Yeah.
And the next one's going to be on public safety.
Correct.
And then do you know what the last one's going to be for the year?
The last one will be wills and powers of attorney.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, and man, okay, we got to talk about that one, because I used to do a little will and trust, like I produced the show. It was kind of interesting to hear about that, and how now it's online and people just can change things whenever, and you got to be even more careful now than ever before.
Right. Right.
But most importantly, this fraud thing's really important, because I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, I saw the sheriff's office put out another thing about, people getting defrauded, and reading news stories about it all the time. It's a huge issue, and whether or not it's your loved one going or yourself going to learn a little bit, SSP is going to make that possible. So getting back to it, you got to call 618-465-3298, extension 123 to register. And now throughout the rest of the occasion, what time does lunch start again? 11:45?
Correct.
So doors open at 11?
Correct.
You need to register before then. And then going through, again, just the overview, there's going to be a panel for about 40 minutes, 45?
Correct. Yep. Panel for 45 will have Madison County Sheriff's Department, the Elderly Service Officer, Deputy Alfaro, the Assistant State's Attorney Courtney Lindbeck, who's on the Elder Justice Committee, and then Scott Versman, who's the Fraud and Corruption Section Chief for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Illinois.
That's really cool. And I don't know why I'm putting you on the spot like this, but is there any type of resources for people after they've been, scammed and frauded, that maybe aren't financial resources, but just, mental support-wise too? Because there's a drain that can take on any individual, regardless of your age. Do you know if that's going to be discussed?
That's something that has been discussed in some other committees that I'm on, and we find that people are generally just too embarrassed to talk about it. So it's something that's an initiative that's kind of all on our minds, and we're working through how to make something like that happen.
I like it. That means something's getting done about that. Well, and going forward, guys, always stay tuned to ssp.seniorservicesplus.org. I did that wrong the last time, too. I'm remembering. It's the energy drinks that's clearing all that fog away, But seriously, stay up to date with it, because this is an important one that you and your loved ones can really help yourselves in the long run. And you have until this upcoming June 21st.
Friday.
June 21st, but I'm pretty sure we'll probably have some room for walk-ins.
Okay.
Too, but give me a call just to make sure that you've got your seat.
That's what I'm trying. I mean, I want them to call you, Leslie.
Yes,
I want you to call them and be a part of it. Seriously, lunch will be served at 11:45. Get there at 11. Make sure you RSVP and just take some notes too. Is there going to be a printout or anything they can take home with them?
There will likely be some handouts.
Cool. Mm-hmm. There you go. Well, we knocked this out in about 15 minutes. How about that? Next time you see me, I will be more energized. My apologies. We'll take a little bit of a pause here. Our daily show continues right after this on RiverBender.com.